To another stage which is actually repair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So what happens when there is an injury? So after it, the repair take place in the tissues. So the repair is actually constantly occurring in the normal periodontium. Okay, in the normal periodontium, even trauma from occlusion when there is, so there is increased reparative activity. So there is increased reparative activity to basically to repair the damaged tissues. Okay, these what happened, the damaged tissues are either removed also, and then there is a new connective tissue cells, they have fibers, they have bone, they have cementum, and they are formed in attempt to restore the injured periodontium. So what they do, they restore the periodontium, they restore the cells, actually they restore the fibers like pedial bone, the cementum actually. Okay, buttressing bone formation. Buttressing a bone formation occurs when basically when the bone is resorbed, so the body try to compensate and form new bone. So now let's study. When the bone is resorbed by excessive occlusive forces, so the body attempts to refrain the bony trabeculae with new bone. So what they do, basically there is an excessive occlusive forces, then there is actually the body actually try to compensate for that. Okay, by formation of new bone. So means they compensate for the lost bone, which is called buttressing bone formation. It is a very important feature of the reparative process associated with the trauma from occlusion. It also occurs when the bone is destroyed by inflammation and osteolytic tumors. Means it can also be due to when there is inflammation or osteolytic tumors. Means trauma from occlusion is not only the reason that buttressing bone formation is happening. Buttressing occurs when the jaw in either in the central buttressing or peripheral. What happened in the central, there is endostele cells. In endostele cells there is a deposition of new bone. When the bone is newly deposited, so it restores the bony trabeculae and reduces the size of marrow spaces. So endostele cells which is present that deposit the new bone, they restore the bony trabeculae, and they also reduce the marrow spaces which is created during the resorption, or that has been created after resorption. Peripheral buttressing occurs on the facial or lingual surfaces of the alveolar plate. Okay, depending on its severity, peripheral buttressing produces a shelf-like thickening of the alveolar margin, which is known as lipping. So when there is a peripheral buttressing, so it produces a shelf-like thickening of alveolar margins, which is known as lipping, and either there is a pronounced bulge in the contour of the facial lingual bone, means there's a huge bulge on the facial and lingual side. Now moving towards the adaptive remodeling of the periodontium. What happens when the repair does not contain peace? Matlab it cannot, the repair is not so much that the destruction which is caused by occlusion. So what they do, they remodel, that is an effort to create structured relationship in which the forces are no longer injurious to the tissues, means the forces will not injure the tissues. Okay, so there is a widening of pedial ligament that is funnel shaped it at the crust area, means on the crust area it appears like a funnel shaped it. They have no pocket formation, they have angular defects, then they have actually involved the involved teeth become loose, and there's increased vascularization. So repeated, there's a widened pedial ligaments, okay, on the crust area, then they have angular defects, then they have actually no pocket formation, highly vascularization, and involved teeth become loose.